Peace and what up, everybody? This is Umoja. Before I start, I want to give the customary disclaimer that BIO is not Umoja's organization. It is not. I am not a spokesperson. I am merely a member. BIO do not comprise of 100 Umojas. Like it's a whole bunch of different people. So if you don't like me or how my voice sound or what I say, don't let me be the reason why you don't join something great. All right, now that I said that, this video is going to be a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, but just busy and really just tired of talking and ready to get moving. But it's a necessary video just to tell pretty much why I chose to be AIO. And and the first thing that I would say is that, and well, at least in my mind, I evolved, you know, because I don't think anybody just starts off like, man, we just need to go and get our own because we're trained and pretty much is customary to want to change and want to fight the system and make the system where we're in better. But I evolved, I used to preach vote. I used to hop online and discuss everything in the news. And I noticed that people only want to talk and post about Black progress and feel good stories, right? I got tired of the YouTube debates and documentaries detailing our weak position without no solid plan to gain any real strength or power. I grew exhausted with the YouTube characters, the five percenters, the indigenous Americans, the Moorish Americans, the Israelite camps, the Kemetic gurus, and all the revolutionaries. I mean, the exhaustion really came from one thing. There was zero unity among them all. Like everybody talking about having the same enemy, but then when you talk about working together, you hear crickets because everybody has their own philosophy and their own way to do it. And if you ain't rocking with that, then pretty much they don't even want to deal with you. And I grew tired, so tired of working hard to help galvanize Black people and seeing that many people who out here doing this activism and doing this pro-Black stuff seem to just want to be seen, be popular, and feel like they doing something. Just as long as it feels like you doing something, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, I grew tired of let's plan some initiative, let's plan some activities, and especially as I became more of a student of Black Power movements and even from religions to organizations, it was like it was a bunch of initiatives and activities again to make us feel like it's some change or feel like something is happening. I became hella annoyed with the action of doing for ourselves first being just a mere forethought. It was always, well, we can do both. We can ask white people for money and then be doing for ourselves. And as I looked around, I was like, bro, I don't see us doing for ourselves. I don't see us coming together to really do for ourselves. And of course, I grew really tired of hearing the solution talk with no movement. Every time somebody will start talking about what's going wrong, first thing you hear, well, what's the solution? Well, what's the solution? Well, what's the solution? And then the solution, when you say a solution, well, we can't do that, or Black people don't come together, or Black, and it's like an intelligent person will see an issue and make the move to make it better. For instance, if you say something like, oh, we need to put our money together and like do for and help our own people, guarantee some Negro gonna say, well, Negroes don't trust each other and blah blah blah. Well, motherfucker, well, why don't you change that? Why don't you change that by you starting it? You know what I mean? Like, but it is never that, oh, or you will say, man, all this Black, all this internalized racism. Well, it's because we have a history of slavery and everything. Okay, well, if you know that, then why aren't you doing something to counter that instead of just saying, oh, I know the problem, but I don't want to work towards the solution? Just insanity. And then so I have a history of organization involvement, like, and as I talk about this, I'm gonna try not to say any names to like have people feel some kind of way about it. But I was in an international organization, and it was well intended, but most of it was, hey, we got this master course, and you just got to pay blah 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 99, and you'll get all the knowledge yourself, like that's all we need is knowledge yourself. And in that organization, it was, what I noticed is that it was too much put on one person, and it made it easy for it to implode, and that's exactly what happened. And then this organization, I will say, because I don't mind, the NAACP, my goodness. I came now. I know NAACP is huge, but I came to a meeting and I seen more white people than it was black people, and I immediately, because that's just not how I rock. Because if you know the history of anything that got to do about black people, if white people are involved, some shit ain't gonna go right. Period. Like I ain't even got to go into details. Then there was a local organization that I was in. Very few people wanted to work. Very few people wanted to help. The organization was basically created to get the community and other black organizations to all work together. I can't think of, man, any who really was serious about actually working together. It was always something. It was always something. It was always something. And again, doing for ourselves wasn't the first priority. It was like, how can we get this grant? How can we do this? And then when it's time to do for ourselves, it's like two or three people. Two or three people can't do for an entire community. So that shit was, it just got old. It just got old. And then I was involved with the what you can call a revolutionary camp. And in that, antiquated philosophies can't keep on doing the shit from the 60s, bro. Like, just can't. It was a bunch of nepotism. It was basically my friends is gonna be a part of it, and pretty much that's it. We my my friends is gonna run the camp, and that's it. And then I noticed it was whenever some shit that was happening, when something happened to a black person from a other, it was like, nah, man, I ain't no superhero and all this other stuff. But then when it was some black people doing something, ready to bang on somebody black, right, quick, we can go bang on some black people, and it's like that shit don't make sense. And again, it was one of them things where let's just be seen, dress up in our nice little suits, and scream black power, and really can't even define it, right? And all of them, I witnessed egos destroy the main focus and intention of the organization. I've seen that a lot. And in all of them, I witnessed how people more so wanted to watch someone else work rather than join and help. Like people love to sit on the sideline and watch and watch and watch and watch and hoping that you fail low key so they could gossip about some shit rather than help. People will point out all the inconsistencies, everything that's wrong, instead of coming in and help together. And then came the BIO. And what's crazy, literally, I first heard about the BIO in the very first organization that I mentioned. And that was the first organization that I got a part of. It was a national organization. And one of the sisters had mentioned the BIO, and I was like, what the fuck is a bail? Bail, right? And I didn't even think about it. And it was like, man, 2 years later, before I was actually, or about a year and some change later, before I actually was introduced to him and like came across him. And then I started reading stuff like, what? It's a geopolitical social network? Like what? Like then I learned shit that they about believing that self-determination means self-rule and government. I'm like, what? They talking shit about have no desire to make America great again, or establish a base of operations in the land of our historic enemies, or be surrounded by them. I'm like, what? They ain't talking about, oh, we can do it right here. We can basically, that's what they're saying, is we can do it right here. Everybody say that. And then I'm hearing stuff like they want a complete social, economic, and political control over the context of our collective reality, and talking about wanting to establish an independent nation of their own on the continent of our ancestors for the victims of the transatlantic slavery. And I'm like, literally, this is everything that people be talking about, right? Everything that people be talking about. But then when it's put in front of you, where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? Like, where y'all at? It's like we just want to talk about how bad we have it and really don't want to fix it, right? And then I started looking at ways that how BOA, look, I can't even say this shit right, how BAIO is different. First and foremost, I've never been asked for $1 for nothing. Never, didn't have to buy no suit to get dressed. Didn't have to buy no lapel. Didn't have to buy no booklet. You ain't got to pay no membership fees. And actually, they refuse to ask for money unless there's a solid accountability system, because obviously we need the resources to do what we want to do. But it's like, no, we ain't ready for that. Because we understand that we understand that Black Americans in particular got a problem giving somebody money unless it's the church or some organization that's gonna make a documentary about how fucked up you are, something like that. But and then I started realizing that, wait a minute, they don't want anything but participation. Literally want somebody with skills. skills. If you in a STEM field, if you got any kind of technical skills, a finance specialist, military specialist, law specialist, and it's not just about that. You know what I'm saying? Pookie and Ray Ray, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean that to be degrading, but you don't have to have any technical skill to get here. It's just about being down for the mission, down for the cause. You know, I start seeing these people actually taking trips to Africa as a group, not just single people saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going with my family for a vacation," or "I'm going on a thing with me and my spouse and everything." You're like, yeah, that's cool, but the idea is to go as a group, have a group showing power and connectedness, right? And I know two of them, and I was actually supposed to go on one this last August, but obviously once COVID hit, it was like that was a wrap. And I think they already went to, from what I know, they went to Rwanda, I know for sure, and I think a group went to Namibia as well. And then I started thinking about, see, like for me, I got a passport, and I'm gonna ask y'all, if y'all hear this, how many of y'all leaders encourage y'all to get passports and get the fuck? How many times you done been to church and they done said, you know what, y'all should have a passport and go see the world, and more than that, go home, go see what the homeland look like? How many? Just tell me, because I'm sure that they'll say, "Oh, you need to get a gun," like it's about to be a like it's about to be a black war race. But how many have literally encouraged you to say, "Just get you a passport, just in case"? Take your Seriously, think about that. And do you know why they don't? Because they need you here. Because if you was gone, then they wouldn't have. If you stop bitching about white folks and what white people do, and actually start saying, "Well, what we gonna do?" Then you don't have any reason to give them money, because they not preaching to you poverty. They're not preaching to you how powerless that you are, right? But but yeah, they don't do that because they want you to stay right there. But what sold me was when I started hearing stuff like, "Well, what's the end game? What's the end game of these organizations?" And then I started looking around. I'm like, well, what is the end game? Is the end game to obtain infinite knowledge of Black African history? What is how is I don't think that's gonna actually keep them people from killing us. I don't think it's actually gonna stop the prison to pipe the excuse me the school to prison pipeline. I don't think it's gonna stop the wage inequality. I don't think it's gonna stop any of that. And then you think about stuff like the NAACP. What is that? Literally, I don't even know what their end game is. And I'm sure if you look into details, it probably say something that includes everybody and not just Black people. The end game of some of these organizations, what is it? Activities, grants, meetings with hope for momentum. Think about what I'm saying, y'all. What is it? These revolutionary groups to talk about a war on your enemy's land? That's never gonna fucking happen. It's so annoying. Stop it. Seriously, stop it. And what it all ends in is a perpetual struggle with the white folks in America. Not even with all white folks, because I know some people are going to say, talk about how all white people ain't bad, and I agree. I agree. However, these organizations, from Black Lives Matter to NAACP, is a perpetual struggle with these people. What I have coined hamster wheel activism. It's ridiculous. Or you could spend your time working on actually developing a nation for your people away from these people. Let me just ask this question. What do you think is more worth your time? Sitting there struggling, trying to fight against a system that have shown you so many times that fuck you, nigga. So many times that said fuck us in every way, from finance to education. In every way, they've said fuck you. So we're gonna keep on struggling with these people to perpetuity. Or we could say, you know what? I get you. Cool. Yes, I understand where I'm at. So I'm gonna work. I'm gonna get, but see, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my money and find out how I can invest it elsewhere and with my people. And what we're going to do with our money is go start talking to these governments on the homeland and start talking about, here's the plan that we got, because guess what? We actually have architects, we actually have technicians, we actually have IT folks, we actually have construction folks, we actually have mathematicians, and this is our plan. And we only need this many acres. Now let's talk about that. But see, what I know for a fact, because again, I've struggled with this same thing, is that Negroes don't believe that we can do it. Period. It's as simple as that. Negroes do not believe that we can do it because we've been so abused and so mistreated for so long that we don't even believe it. However, I don't plan on having this conversation when I'm 70, man. I don't want my kids to grow up talking about this is how you have to talk to the police negative. I want them to wake up going to school on a beach, eating mangoes and shit, or whatever the native fruit is. And that's what the BIO is about. That's all it's about. Don't want nothing from you, man, but a little bit of your time and your effort to build something away from our enemies. Not sitting up here trying to get our enemies to love us. That's called stupid. Anyway, I love y'all. But I was talking this morning with one of the members, and we was going talking about something, and it hit me, and I was like, do you know what sitting up here continuing to wait for these dudes is like? It's like it's like somebody's drowning, and you know how to swim, so you go in and try to save them, but they drowning, and they going down fast. So what they do is grab onto you and they hold you tight and they pull you down with them. Now you got two dead people. I know how to swim a little bit, but I'm tired of jumping in the water for these motherfuckers. Peace, y'all.